Hi, everyone. Today we're going to go over the new VI SPDAT, and HUD has come out with some new data standards, which is why we've updated the VI SPDAT and the by name list. The final product might be slightly different than what we review here, but the concepts are the same. And as I'm going through, I'll tell you the things that are kind of still up in the air. But we have the VI SPDAT here, and then I have another document that we'll go over, and then we will hop into the database, and I'll just show some of the changes. This is not for people who are brand new to Caseworthy. This is for people who have done VI SPDAT before and are pretty familiar with how everything works. So first thing, we have our individual VI SPDAT. We're adding a couple more questions so that we can capture race and ethnicity. Quite a few clients only have VI SPDATs. They don't have other enrollments in street outreach or emergency shelters or anything. And so we want to make sure that we are gathering as much data as possible with the VI SPDATs. Please note that with this form, the consent questions are over here, kind of hidden a little bit more than they were in the past. So just be aware of that. On the next page, this is the biggest change. We now collect HUD universal questions, so exact same thing that you do for any other project enrollments. This follows the model of the rapid rehousing and transitional housing projects, so it's slightly different if you do outreach or emergency shelter. The options are all the same. The questions, that you would ask to get the information are the same, but there are directions based on the client's response. And so it takes up quite a bit more space on the form itself, because instead of having just, one page with everything on the same page, it now is spread out over 3 pages. But if a client says, that they're in a literally homeless situation or an emergency shelter, you would come and you would fill in just section A. If you work with families, HUD universal questions now need to be collected for all family members. So there's some expanded data collection and entry required there. But yeah, everybody needs to have the HUD universal section filled in, as well as, if clients are 18 years or older, or if they're the head of household, they need to have HUD financial. And that'll just appear in the workflow. You won't have to worry about navigating anywhere else to see it. The VI SPDAT itself is the exact same. We haven't changed any of the questions, so TAY, family, and individual will remain the same. What has changed quite a bit are the follow-up questions, and this is the part that's still a little bit up in the air. Everything else up until this point will change. You will have HUD universal, you will have HUD financial, you will have those additional questions on the demographic section, but these follow-up questions, like I said, might be slightly different. The things that we have changed, we've taken away some of the follow-up questions, and then we've added ones to help the CES team make their referrals more appropriate, and to get more of the information they need to improve communication. So if a client has any kind of CCS or AMHD coverage, we're now asking for the name of the case manager and the organization. We're wondering if they have an active work development program, if they have any animals, and then a really big one, where would they accept housing? And you can select all areas. You can select, we want just in town, downtown Honolulu, and East Honolulu. So you can select, multiple options here. Okay, so that's how the VI SPDAT itself has changed. And then in with the VI SPDAT, it'll just be all in the same form. We have current living situation. If you are ESG funded outreach, you already collect this, so it won't be anything new. But this is HUD's attempt to really help identify how a client's living situation changes and to establish a history of homelessness. So the very first time you complete a VI SPDAT, you would also complete a current living situation encounter form. You would also complete this current living situation encounter form on any subsequent encounters. So again, if you're outreach ESG funded, you already do this. If you are a program that only does VI SPDAT, you don't have any other programs in Caseworthy, you can contribute to a client's history and to their record by filling in more of these forms each time you contact a client and entering that data into Caseworthy. What we're collecting here is, current living situation instead of prior living situation. So we're asking, where are you staying now? The options are the same as what they are in HUD Universal. So if you are doing a VI SPDAT and then immediately doing current living situation, you don't have to re-ask these questions. You can just, check back and say, hey, they are currently literally homeless, so I'm just going to go to section C, et cetera, et cetera. But if this is a follow-up encounter, then you would ask, where are you currently staying? And based on, again, what selection is selected here, you have directions on what to fill in below. So section B, is the client going to leave their current living situation within 14 days? If yes, there are follow-up questions. If no, you go directly to section C. And all section C is asking for is exactly where they are located, so location details. If they are going to leave their home or their current living situation within 14 days, we would like to know, do they know where they're going? Do they have support networks? Do they have a lease or ownership interest? And have they moved 2 or more times in the last 60 days? Okay. So again, we do the individual SPDAT, we do the VI SPDAT with HUD Universal, HUD Financial, and then we immediately do this current living situation form. If we hop into the database, I've already gone through and done the first part of an enrollment. And we can see that, I've done the VI over here on the left. I'm in the VI SPDAT, and I've already selected the people I'm enrolling. And now we've moved into the assessment, and we can see that HUD Universal and HUD Financial are now part of the assessments. So we can copy all assessment data. If you're also doing an outreach enrollment, the goal is that you're able to kind of copy data over where it makes sense to. Again, you are responsible, if anything has changed, to update the data that you enter so that it reflects the client's current situation. You will notice that we have this new thing up here at the top. These are called assessment controls, and these are going to have default values entered. A couple of them we're still working on, and I'm just going to go over it quickly here. Assessment level, the VI SPDAT is a housing needs assessment. The other option is crisis needs assessment. That's not how we use the VI. It's just a housing needs assessment. Prioritization status, once a client has a VI SPDAT, they are automatically placed on our by name list. That's our prioritization list. There are a couple of other options, but everybody should have placed on prioritization list. So these two will stay the same. Assessment type, we're going to default in person, but with COVID-19, the COC is probably doing a lot more VIs over the phone or virtual, so you can come up here and change this. Again, the default value will be in person. And then assessment location, this will most likely say Oahu. That might change, but this will also default in. Right now, the list is just the current living situation options, but that's not what it'll be when this is released. Okay, so this is HUD Universal. The next one is HUD Financial, and we added HUD Financial because it helps the CES team know which programs are the clients might be well suited for. So, this is moving very slowly right now. Instead of having you watch a painfully slow example of, of this, I'm just going to work with this family VI SPDAT that I had entered before. You saw HUD Universal, you saw the beginning part of HUD Financial. Those are just a direct copy from the other program enrollments. The one thing you didn't get to see is current living situation. That will be part of the workflow. It'll just appear after the follow-up questions. But I'm going to demonstrate now how to enter a current living situation encounter for follow-ups so that you'll see how it looks. And it'll look the exact same when you're going through the workflow. So we have our VI SPDAT dashboard. And before I can enter a current living situation follow-up, I have to make the family ID on the VI SPDAT match to family ID in the top left corner. If these two IDs do not match, before I can enter a current living situation encounter, I have to change the active family. This is the same process you go through when you're entering services. So because these two numbers don't match, I'm going to go to change active family. This screen always does take a second to load. So just sing yourself a nice little song. 217826. And then to enter current living situation, I'm going to come to program enrollment over here on the left, and we have current living situation as the top option. We can see the other current living situation entries. I'm going to come up here to the right to add new. We select the program, and again, for the VI to show up, those two family IDs have to match. We enter the client's current living situation, and I'm guessing for VI SPDAT, most people are going to be in a literally homeless situation, so it'll be one of these three top options. If they are literally homeless, then that's really all you have to enter. If they are imminently homeless, let's say, and they're coming from, let's say they're coming from a hospital, we have to ask and answer those follow-up questions that we went over on the form, and then depending on the response here, there might be a couple of more follow-up options. But I'm just going to say that they are staying in a place not meant for a habitation. Living situation verified by, that's optional. You do not have to enter it. If you would like to, you can just click on that magnifying glass, and then we have project names here. If you are like USS or, not on the first page, you don't have to guess where you are. You could start typing the first part of your program's name as it is in case wordy. And you could say, I'm doing an KWO, and this is with the outreach program, okay? And then the service type, it's just outreach, current living situation. And that's what you have to enter. This is how it's going to look in the workflow. Again, it's the one thing that I didn't get to demonstrate, but I figured that for our sanities, it was best to do it this way. So that's another encounter, and you can see how we are building this client's history of homelessness and how this could be helpful if you need to get a letter of homeless verification or anything like that. The last thing that I wanted to touch on is the new CES referral tracker. So in the past, you guys were doing the CES VI SPDAT referral. HUD has also updated how we need to enter and track referrals. So now we have off the program enrollment action gear, or just program enrollment menu link, we have current living situation, and then we have coordinated entry event. And this is going to be our new referral tracker. When I click on this, we have examples of past events. We can see that this client has been referred to one rapid rehousing project on 7/8. They rejected that referral on 7/10, and then we can see another example on 7/4 they were referred. This time the provider rejected them, also on 7/10. So, typically the CES team would enter the referral itself and let you guys know, I think, through Google Sheets. When you get that notification that somebody has a referral, you can come here, so program enrollment, coordinated entry event, to see the referral. This will display the actual program name, so if they were referred to like Alea Bridge Rapid Rehousing, you would see that instead of this code here. And then once you have what is called an event, either you have successfully housed the client, or you rejected the referral, or the client rejected the referral, you would go to the action gear, go to edit, and this is what the screen is going to look like. Do you have the event result? The CES team will leave it at no, and then once, in this case, IHS comes in and they have an event result, they'll change it to yes. If the result was that the client accepted the referral, boom, you're done. You just need to enter the date. If, however, the client rejected the referral, then we have, and this will be nicer, then we have some options. We need to understand why they rejected the referral, but you might say like their needs changed, or maybe they were reunified with family. And then if the provider is the one who rejects the referral, same thing, you have to select the list of options. Both these lists, the list of reasons why the provider rejected the referral and the list of reasons why the client rejected the referral, both of those will change. The options that are here are just kind of placeholders for now, but the overall idea of giving the reason will stay the same. All right? So then we'll save that, and we'll be able to see how it updates on the summary screen. All right? So just an overview of the changes. I know that there are several. This is a sweeping set of changes. We have the new VI SPDAT forms with HUD Universal, HUD Financial, and updated follow-up questions. And then we also have current living situation. To enter the VI SPDAT, you follow the same steps as you did before. And then to enter any follow-up current living situation encounters, you go program enrollment, current living situation. If you want to respond to a referral, you come to coordinated entry event to give the result of that referral. And just remember that family IDs are really important. They must match if you want to be able to enter data correctly. All right. Please email hmis@auw.org with any questions. Have a great day, everybody.